The global fashion industry is an absolute behemoth, right? It clothes billions of us. But that massive scale, well, it comes with a massive sustainability problem. So how do you even begin to fix a system that big? Researchers think the answer is in a totally new way of thinking. All right, let's get into it.
So to really get a handle on this, you've got to understand the machine we're talking about. The fashion supply chain needs huge amounts of money for materials and factories. That's what capital-intensive means. It gives jobs to millions of people all over the world, making it labor-intensive. And its footprint, from water use to emissions, well, that makes it incredibly environmentally influential. It's this massive, tangled global web of interconnected parts.
And really, the engine driving this whole problem is fast fashion. This constant cycle of buy it, wear it, toss it, it's just famously unsustainable. And that brings us to the big question, the one at the very heart of this explainer. Can we actually re-engineer this entire system from the ground up?
To figure that out, here's our game plan. We'll start by unpacking a really cool concept called a system of systems. Then we'll walk through 5 core principles for sustainability, a 2-stage action plan, and finally, we'll see how a real-world giant like H&M is actually trying to put all this into practice.
Okay, so let's jump right into the big idea here. Instead of looking at the fashion industry as just one single giant thing, researchers are saying we need to view it through a different lens, the lens of systems engineering. They call it a system of systems.
So what on earth is a system of systems, or SOS for short? You know, the easiest way to think about it is like an orchestra. Each musician is their own complete system. They can play their instrument solo, no problem. But when they all connect and coordinate, they become part of something way bigger, the orchestra. And together they create something no single one of them could alone. In fashion, a fabric mill is a system. A shipping company is a system. A retail store is a system. The supply chain? Well, that's the orchestra bringing them all together.
It's a great analogy, right? But does the fashion industry really fit the bill in a technical sense? Well, to prove that it does, researchers put it to the test using this strict 5-point checklist they call the ABCD criteria.
And you know what's wild? It's like this checklist was made for the fashion industry. First, you've got autonomy. A supplier in Vietnam and a retailer in Ohio are totally separate companies. But they also have belonging, because they absolutely have to work together to get close to us. Connectivity, that's all the contracts and partnerships that tie them together. Diversity is a no-brainer. A cotton farm is completely different from a design studio. And then there's emergence. This is the magic part. The massive global power of a brand like H&M emerges from all these little pieces working in concert. No single piece has that power on its own. So yeah, the research is crystal clear. The fashion supply chain isn't just like an SOS, it is one, period.
Okay, so if we know it's a system of systems, now what? How do we actually manage it to be more sustainable? This is where the theory gets super practical. The researchers lay out 5 key principles, kind of like the rules for success.
It all starts with Principle 1, choose the best partners. You got to get rid of the weak links. Principle 2 is all about coordination, making sure everyone is on the same page using smart partnerships. Principle 3 is managing risk, which is huge in a crazy volatile market like fashion. Then, and this is crucial for sustainability, Principle 4 is managing leftovers. You need a real plan for products that don't sell. And finally, Principle 5, use technology. Think of data analytics and tracking tech like RFID as the central nervous system for the whole operation, helping it make smarter, faster decisions.
And this right here, this is the part that should make every CEO's ears perk up. Putting these principles into action isn't just about feeling good or being green. The study's models showed that using tech to get better data doesn't just cut waste, it literally creates real, measurable economic value. In a well-run system of systems, sustainability and profitability aren't fighting each other. In fact, they go hand in hand.
Okay, great theory. But how does a company actually do all this? Well, the research lays out a super clear roadmap for that too. A 2-stage action plan that can guide a company from where they are today toward a truly sustainable future. In stage 1, the goal is basically economic sustainability. It's about getting your house in order, figuring out roles, finding the best partners, getting basic coordination down to build a stable, profitable system. But stage 2, that's the evolution. Here, the goal shifts to full sustainability, balancing the economic goals with environmental and social ones. This is where you bring in the advanced stuff, like serious risk management and using technology to slash waste. It's a journey, not just flipping a switch overnight.
So, does this 2-stage journey actually happen in the real world, or is it just a nice idea in a research paper? To see how it does, let's take a look at a perfect case study. H&M, one of the biggest fast fashion players on the entire planet.
You can almost see the 2 stages playing out right here on this timeline. For decades, H&M was all about global growth and profit. That's classic stage one. But then look at the shift. In 2009, they launch a real sustainability strategy. In 2013, they start taking back old clothes to recycle. By 2016, they completely redefine their mission to be 100% circular and renewable. That is a company making a very clear, very deliberate journey into stage two.
And to get a sense of the scale here, just look at this number. Between 2013 and 2016 alone, H&M's garment collecting program took back 39,000 tons of old clothes. I mean, that's the weight of nearly 200 million t-shirts that didn't end up in a landfill. That is the managing leftovers principle in action on a global scale.
And it's not just one thing. Look how their actions map directly back to those 5 principles we talked about. They have a special program to find and reward the best suppliers. That's principle 1. They build long-term relationships for better coordination. That's principles 2 and 3. Their whole close the loop goal is all about principle 4, managing leftovers. And their Global Change Award, which funds new recycling tech, that's a perfect example of principle 5, using technology to solve big problems.
So when you boil it all down, it really comes back to this one powerful idea from the research. A truly sustainable system is one where all the different independent parts, the farms, the factories, the shippers, the stores, they all work together not just to make money, but to actively manage their impact on the planet and on people. That is the essence of a sustainable system of systems.
Look, overhauling the entire fashion industry is a monumental challenge, but this framework, it gives us a real, practical playbook. And it leaves you with this one last, really interesting question. If this system of systems thinking can help fix fashion, what other giant, tangled global industries, like food or energy or healthcare, could it help re-engineer next?